What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Crazy for KV's RC. I'm Tim. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're a first-time watcher, thanks for dropping in. So you guys saw my channel update after my about 3-month hiatus. I did mention that I picked up an H10 by Vanquish, the Optic. Finally got it. Finally was able to open it up, kind of check it out. Haven't really dug in it too much, taking it apart really. Starting to brainstorm ideas, what I want to do with it, what I want to make it into. And I guess I kind of came to the conclusion that I don't really know yet. So I have seen quite a few reviews on it. I'm in the Facebook group, so I've seen some of the issues people are having. The centered ring and pinion and the axles seem like they're kind of giving way. And as well as that front knuckle, part of that H10 axle is rubs the tire. And that's kind of a bummer because people are ruining their tires kind of right off the rip. It just slightly rubs and it's perfectly, like, basically cutting the inside sidewall of the tire. So we're in a very familiar location. The water's decently high. The water level really drives how much terrain I have, at least that I'm familiar with here local in Augusta, Georgia. It's a pretty beautiful morning. A little warm already. It's supposed to be a balmy 99 degrees today. It's Father's Day weekend, but I was able to sneak out of the house for a couple hours and get some RC done and film some content for you guys, kind of get things going again. So I will say one of the traps I fall into sometimes is I'll buy something, usually on initial impressions, and don't watch too many reviews, just kind of make my own determination, do some research, read product description, look at pictures, and I'll buy something. A lot of times while I'm waiting for it to ship, I get excited, start watching reviews, and kind of let the other reviews make an opinion for me before I am able to make my own. And that's something I'm going to try to get better about, especially as an aspiring YouTuber, content creator. I think I owe you guys my raw opinion and not a culmination of the internet's opinions kind of formed into one and regurgitated at you. So going to do my best. Unfortunately, the Optic has been out for a little bit now, a couple weeks, I think. And I have seen quite a bit on it, seen some of the issues. A lot of people really like them. A lot of people don't really know what it is. Vanquish makes great crawlers. Some people are saying it can't really crawl because it's a true center skid buggy. Center of gravity is a little higher. Its front and rear lower links are the exact same length. So 10's the high center. It's got about a 13.25 inch wheelbase, so pretty long. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the corner scales right here. This is stock RTR with a 1300 milliamp hour Ovonic 3S on the driver's side. So kind of gives you an idea. Front to rear is pretty decent. Left to right is pretty good, and even the cross weight's pretty good too. They did a pretty good job kind of balancing it out. So I actually filmed an entire bench video. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to use any of it. I may use little clips of it in here if I forget anything out here doing it live. But the gist of that is trying to figure out the path I want to take this down. Likely it's going to go down 3 different paths anyway, and I'll decide which one I like the most. But we're going to do a first drive here. Never driven it before, and give you my impressions of it. And we're going to talk about kind of my intended goals for this, different upgrades I wanted to do it, and ultimately what we want to make it. And there is a twist. I'm going to let you guys decide which one we do first, which order you want to see those in. So we'll talk more about that as I'm driving. But yeah, let's go ahead and show you the truck. Like I said, stock Optic, not going to talk about everything about it. But I am guilty sometimes of upgrading trucks before I even drive them. So did want to give you guys kind of my raw impressions of this thing, RTR. So let's check it out. All right, so there it is. We got like I said, stock Optic, stock wheels, stock tires. Hoping just a short run today, we don't end up ruining these, because I do like these Geolanders. Great scale tire. They look good, perform decent. Not the best in like dirty and terrain, but on clean rock, they do actually really well. The plastic beadlocks that they come with. So I already got my battery in there. Like I said, 1300 milliamp, Ovonic 3S. No reason for me to go with a crazy size battery. not going to be running this thing for hours, so save a little bit of that sprung weight, and helps it kind of balance out left to right a little bit better. Running the preload the same as the way it came, and we got it all powered up. And yeah, we're going to go just do a little bit of kind of trailing, try to hit some technical climbs, see if it'll do it, see what it's got, see if it's got enough speed to bump obstacles, and where it's good, where it's bad, and kind of formulate our opinions from there. And I'll also talk to you about what my plans are for this. All right, it's been a little while since I've done any filming and driving, so bear with me. Yeah, you can see how sticky those tires are right off the rip. Picking up rocks. Yep, there we are. We're high centered. Bump over. There we go. Pretty good, pretty decent wheel speed, seems like, for brushed motor 3S. This is geared pretty high. 6% overdrive. I think it's about 41 to 1 in the rear. I think it's about 41 to 1 in the front, and 44 to 1 in the rear. So it's geared pretty fast. Typically to crawl, you want to be in the 50s. 60s kind of nice too. You just volt up, run 4S or something, but I'm just kind of driving around, seeing what we can get into. I already mentioned the water's up pretty high, but I think we got enough to play on today to kind of make a short little video and determine how I feel. So it'll slow crawl fairly decent. It's as good as any RTR, honestly. It's better than I figured it would be with those gear ratios. Yeah, we can run through a little bit of water. I'm not too worried about it. These tires, usually the Vanquish compound does pretty good when they get wet. Let's see if we can make this climb. This is a pretty good climb. There's not many RTRs that are going to do this, so all right, we need a bump, I think. Oh. We got pretty good tire wrap on the back. These tires are just so soft. Trying to walk it over. I'm gonna give up here in a little bit, but all right, we're in the water. Okay, so doesn't look like that's happening. I don't know what it is about RTRs, but I don't mind getting them wet. I think it's because I know I'm not going to leave them that way. I'm going to make upgrades, make changes. There we go. Oh, I hope I got that. Let's do it again, just to make sure we didn't miss it. Let's see if I can repeat that. A little bit easier of a climb, but still not something a lot of RTRs would do. You know, this thing's really, its only competition is, I would say, is the Axial Capra. It's the only thing that's marketed as a trail buggy. And of course, we're high centered right there. You know, make a good climb and then get high centered on something pretty mild. will say my shocks were leaking out of the box. I love the look of the S80 shocks, but something's got to be done about them leaking so bad. They leak really bad. That's my number one gripe with Vanquish is the shocks. And I said, when they're not leaking, they perform well. But when the shocks aren't leaking, they do perform well. They look good. Just very frustrating to basically have to rebuild your shocks right away. I don't think we're hung up on anything. I think we just kind of lack the traction here. It's probably tires, probably foams more than anything. I think a set of dual stage foams would do this thing very well. There we go, low wheel speed. All we needed. Sorry about the shadows. I only got so much room out here right now. Guys in the Midwest and East Coast probably can feel me a little bit more with you just have limited terrain, and you know, certain times of the year maybe it's better than others, so you gotta make do with what you got. But get out and try to find some different stuff. I know there's a new website app, the rcmap.io. Check that out. I know this location's already mapped on there, so if you're in the Augusta area, you can find exactly where I'm at. Clarks Hill Lake, Pavilion 3. I will say this thing's plenty fast on this brush motor, stock pinion, all the stock gearing. We'll see how fast it is. I'll take it up here in the grass. Yeah, way faster than walking speed. Not so fast that it rolls or anything, but turning circle's decent. Let's go slow and hit the turning circle here. I don't have any way to measure that, but let's go the other way. I did adjust my endpoints. They were a little conservative, I would say. So I cranked them. Get the most out of these H10 axles. All right, so let's talk about kind of what I think about where I see this thing going, what I think I'm going to do with it, my plans. So I think its biggest issue, that was a good climb, is it kind of lacks an identity. I think it's too fast to be a crawler. And the long wheelbase, it's really long, so it gets hung up on things. And then on the other hand, I don't know, it's pretty scale, but it's not a truck, you know, it's a buggy. So I think a lot of people won't see it as a trail truck. They're going to see it as a kind of a rock buggy. It is, like I said, marketed as a trail buggy, but you know, you got to figure that out. It's not in the name or anything. But so there's a couple different routes I see this thing going down. Number one, and I'm going to give kind of some upgrades and I guess examples of parts that could fall into these, we'll call them upgrade paths. It's kind of a choose your own adventure. So far, I would say there's nothing really wrong besides for the knuckle rubbing the tire. We'll check that out here in a minute. I'll take the tire off and we'll see what it looks like, how bad it is. But so we'll kind of talk about, so for the first one, you know, I wouldn't say it's like a true rock crawler. It's a, I'd say its biggest disadvantage is the very long wheelbase and relatively low belly and pumpkins due to the straight axle. So if you wanted to make this into a rock crawler, I think that's kind of one of its natural paths that people are going to want to go. It's a Vanquish truck. It's got pretty good components to start, but it's just not quite there. The really long wheelbase, it seems to kind of high center quite a bit. It's also got straight axles on it. And for that long of a wheelbase and 475 tires, the pumpkins on the axles are fairly low. So we'll call that upgrade path 1. There's a motorcycle in the background, sorry. But so upgrade path 1, I think we're just kind of walk through what I think it needs. I think it needs wheel. You guys saw on the corner scales, but I think it's about 54 in the front, 46 in the rear. So I think it needs wheels, tires, foams. Whether you're a 3D printed foam guy or inserts or a 2-stage, each have their pros and cons. A little bit better tire, probably a little bit bigger tire, 5-inch tire, maybe 5 1/4, like an LP or a cut and shut. West has a wheeler, shout out to him. Always been very supportive of me and the channel. So I think those are good options. I think you could use underdrive in both axles. Bring that overall gear ratio down. In doing that, obviously you don't have the ability to create more overdrive via the ring and pinion gear. Sorry, we got a lot of boats on the lake today, so water's crashing in pretty good right now. But there is the ability to put more overdrive in the transmission. They sell a 21% overdrive kit, which is a pretty sweet spot to be. It's a little on the low end, so maybe it's just underdrive in the rear and get you closer to that 30% that I like to be for a true dedicated rock crawler. You could still trail with that, but we're talking about dedicating this thing to being a rock crawler. I think shaving some of the weight, some of the scale accessories, it's got a molded interior. Maybe switching that out for a Lexan one, stripping it out completely, which would kind of ruin the look of it. So I don't think I'd go that far. But the power tank, parts of the fuel cell, switching out the hard body panels for Lexan panels, maybe. Just kind of shaving that up top weight, trying to get it to perform as good as possible. Obviously, electronics. Servo. Their RTR servo is not bad. It's not the best. Red Cat's the best one I've used. It's slow, but it's got lots of power. But this is getting the job done out here. Not crazy high traction though. And it so yeah, I think something at least in the 500 ounce-inch mark. It's just too easy to get that now. But I'm gonna dedicate it to being a rock crawler. Put bigger wheels and tires on it, more weight down low, better traction, better compound. I'm gonna want probably 800 at least. I like 1,000. 1,000 ounce-inches is a good spot to be, and there's lots of options at that too. For your power plant, you could go with a full-size outrunner, little AM32 ESC. Run it on 4S, gear it down the pinion as well, get all the wheel speed you want. Should get pretty good low speed resolution, and I think that'd be a pretty good spot. Fusion Pro with 2300 kV also would be pretty good. So there may be a few other things in there, but I would say that's route 1. That's rock crawler. Route 2, which it might be closer to, is trail basher. So, you know, it's got pretty good speed. We can kind of bomb around through here a little bit. But it does have centered gears in the axles and the transmission. It's got the thin little spaghetti upper links, front and rear. Its overdrive is not in a bad spot for doing that. But it's steering servo and power plant as well. Not the greatest. But a trail basher to me should look fairly scale still, so probably keep all the accessories on there, keep the panels the same, and yeah, like I said, just do maybe something like a Polar Pro, 2700 kV, run it on 3S most of the time, or on a 4S if you really want to send it. I like 4S and gearing down. It just gives you more options. You don't sacrifice wheel speed, but better resolution, better low speed crawl if you need it. I'm kind of hitting all the same lines here. I do apologize, but just kind of trying to give you guys something to look at besides my face. We'll walk over to this other part of the lake while I'm talking. Wheels and tires. Probably something, you know, a little bit bigger. Again, 5-inch mark. The Pro Line Trepadors are 4.9, so a little bit bigger than the English, not much. Talking about 0.15 inches, that's not much. Definitely needs foams. You know I'm going to put wheels on it, so you don't have to worry about that. And yeah, I think going to a machined ring and pinion, as well as potentially transmission gears. Stock ratios, keep the 6% overdrive, but just kind of create more durability. And then the last thing, I would replace those upper links with some of their titanium links. I just want it to be as strong as possible. Kind of make sure it's not going to let me down for multiple miles, things like that. But yeah, I think that's kind of that trail basher path, upgrade path 2. And I think that could be fun. And I think I will try it out anyway, just to see. And maybe it's, you know, you could probably do a little bit of bouncing with that as well. I don't know how the axles will hold up. Most of their axles are pretty strong, but you just never know. These are untested. But path number 3, I would say, is kind of leaning into that lack of identity. Because right now I'd say it's kind of a jack of all trades, master of none, right? And path 3 is making it even better at doing that. Being able to do everything, kind of, if you had one RC and you do a lot of different stuff, kind of making it kind of good at everything. So what's that look like? That looks like probably want to do some, you know, durability upgrades, maybe as they come, maybe as you break things. Maybe you don't do it right away. It's not the end of the day. You're not going to do, you know, big mileage hikes or anything with it, but definitely electronics. I think 2300, leave the stock gearing in it, at least with the pinion and spur. I think 21% overdrive in the transmission. And then I think either going stock front and rear or underdrive front and rear. If you do underdrive front and rear, it might be worth looking at a real smooth brushless system, like a dedicated, not a 2-in-1, and being able to go to 4S if you want it. Maybe you run 3S on the rocks. Maybe you run 4S on the trail. Yeah, we still got some rocks over here. You guys have seen these before. I think a very trail tire I don't really like super swampers, but I think it would be a good tire, like a G8 compound Proline 475 super swamper would be pretty good. I also think that Trepador would be pretty good for that. I mentioned putting the overdrive transmission gears in, but I forgot kind of the main thing I will do when I do eventually go to that upgrade path and try it out is I am going to do a VFD Twin swap. This truck will take a VFD Twin. It's set up for it. It's got mounting spots for the overdrive and the dig. And I think that would really allow it to be good at everything and probably not great at anything. That's a lot of weight. It's a lot of added weight that's sprung. But you would, with this long wheelbase, dig would be extremely useful. Like right now, I'm kind of just having to steer as hard as I can. Didn't quite hit the line I wanted. If I could dig right there, we'd be golden. Honestly, this thing's doing pretty well in this little spot, though. We're high centered right there. That's there you go. Little bump. That's all you need. I don't think I'd do any winches or anything like that. I'd leave the servo on axle. Yeah, I think a VFD Twin, the ability to go from very mild to very wild overdrive. You know, when you're in the rocks, you go wild. And when you're trailing, turn it down. And because of that, I think that the underdrive gears would still be very useful. I think that it needs the machine gears. It'll need them eventually. The centered gears just most likely will not last. The ring and pinion. The transmission gears I've had really good luck with. My Phoenix ran the centered gears in the transmission for miles and miles and miles and miles of thrashing it. So, but I don't know how to do a poll on this video, but I do want you guys to let me know. I'm going to put a link down in the comment to a community post that's going to go live right when this video does. So if whatever one you're more interested in seeing first, like I said, good chance I'll do them all, because I also am curious as to kind of what this thing's DNA is best suited for. Yeah, I'll put a poll in there. You guys let me know. So option 1, rock crawler, dedicated. Option 2, we'll call it trail basher, ultimate trail basher. And option 3, master of none. And that's going to be with a transmission swap in it, most likely. Selectable overdrive, selectable dig. And all those sound like pretty good, fun options to me. But hopefully you guys saw some pretty good running footage, some a little bit different terrain. Maybe this is better suited. Maybe this is a little closer to your terrain you have in your area. And yeah, I just wanted to let you know. I think the truck definitely crawls better than some people are saying it does. It doesn't crawl like a VRD. It's not intended to crawl like a VRD, I don't think. But if you want it to, it's going to take some work. And that's the thing, is there's really nothing wrong with running an RTR. Don't let the internet, tell you what upgrades you should make. Your hobby is your hobby. It's no one else's. Nobody else runs where you do, probably, or has the exact same setups or exact same trucks. So don't let anyone on the internet say what you bought is bad, or don't let them saying it's good make you think it's good. You can have your own opinion. And my opinion of this is it's pretty fun. I don't know about durability. I can't really speak to that right now, but I think time will tell. But I think this would be a really fun truck for a kid. It's an expensive truck for a kid, but you also get a great platform. If you don't really know kind of what genre you like the most, maybe you like to go fast, maybe you like to crawl, maybe you just like to take an RC on hikes, I think this would be a pretty good option. Not saying it won't let you down, said just don't know yet, but I'm pretty impressed with it. It's done some things today that I let the internet influence me, and I didn't think it would. But overall, I'd say I'm happy with my purchase. It was my money I spent, and everyone's gonna spend their money on their stuff, so spend it the way you want. Don't let me tell you if it's good or bad, but you're gonna be seeing some more content on this. So if you bought one or you're just curious, let me know, and go to that community post and vote. You want to see a rock crawler, a trail buggy, or make it into a jack of all trades first. But leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Starting to get back into it. Like I said, videos are going to be kind of slowly start coming back as normal. But I thank you all so much for watching. Hit the subscribe button before you go if you haven't, and I will see you on the next one.